And go ahead and in a moment, Romashar, go ahead and start the video.
All right.
What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
And welcome, a wonderful Awakening World audience. It's good to have all of you here. I'm here with the amazing Sitara Fay, and we're going to learn a lot from her about the power of kindness. And she's also going to lead us on a powerful meditation in a few minutes. What I'd like to do is for our Awakening World audience, they're going to get an Om Shar song. And for our live audience, we're going to get a chance to get to know you a little bit. So I'm going to put the spotlight on Om Shar and take it away, brother, with whichever song you wish to share.
Well, namaste and welcome everybody. Happy Sacred Sunday. And we're going to start with a how could anybody ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? So please join us, but don't unmute. Thank you. And love you. And here we go. How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, and how deeply you're connected to my soul? How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, and how deeply you're connected to my soul? How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, and how deeply you're connected to my soul? Just one more time and then we'll get Scott and Sitara to come back. How could anyone ever tell you that you're anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you are less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle, Adora? How deeply you're connected to my soul, and how deeply we're connected through our
Thank you, beloved Omar Shah.
Char.
That
That
beautiful
beautiful.
opening song. Thank you, Adora.
I had to have three hands because I had to let people in as well, Scott. So,
Well, we have a little live audience with us as well,
oh, wonderful. I love little live audiences.
and we've got a chance to meet all of them. And Omar Shah will do a song closing at around 11:50, around the time that we finish up here. So
Nothing central?
what's that?
Nothing in the
Nothing
center?
central, no.
Okay, cool.
Because we've got a very short time here.
I love that.
And Adora will hopefully be dancing too. And I'm going to turn it over to this extraordinary woman, Sitara Fay. She is one of the most magical galactic beings who truly walks gently in multiple worlds. So I'm going to turn over to you, Sitara Fay, to share with us a little bit about our topic today.
Amazing. So my name's Sitara Fay. I've been a practicing professional psychic medium for about 15 years. I was born with the abilities. I didn't really fully understand what was going on when I was young. When I was about 14, they started coming on really strong, and I did not have any real support in my world to be able to develop them. So I turned to drinking to try to turn it away as quickly as I could. And through that exploration in the dark, I really learned to understand so many different aspects and facets of life. And so in a lot of ways, that went on for many years, and I'm just going to kind of skip to the good part. But ultimately in my world, I started channeling light language in 2020, right before the world shut down. I was in Bali trying to decide, do I come home? Do I not come home? Am I, if I come home, am I going to quarantine? Am I going to kill my family? We all know that was like a very stressful time. And right in the middle of it, I started channeling light language very spontaneously. And I did not really understand what was happening. And at that point, I'd already been leading classes and doing my psychic work for about 10 years. And so I knew enough on how to research and kind of figure out what was going on. But the reason I share that story with you is because I will be sharing some light language with us in the meditation. And so the topic that Scott and I are going to be talking about today is a term, it's a Finnish term called sisu. And sisu is loosely translated to gentle power. It's also along the lines of the Kuan Yin teachings of compassion, deeply embodied compassion, that the frequency of compassion is often overlooked as a weakness, especially in our modern day egoically driven society. Compassion is a consciousness, it is an encoded frequency that on contact can quite literally transmute any frequency or any intention that comes to it, just simply by meeting it. And so it's one of these things that I've learned on my journey in the last year. I had a trip to Japan and had a very powerful and kind of gruesome past life experience come up for me as a samurai that was murdered, betrayed. It was a very dramatic story, but to relive that was quite intense. And through that experience, I learned that it was time for me to put down my sword, that I no longer wanted to be a light warrior, somebody that was fighting for the light. To me, it was like that, it started to make less and less sense. And so that was a very vulnerable experience, because through my years of fighting to survive, I learned that I needed it. That was my protection. It was the way that I navigated global travel alone and was able to maintain a sense of safety. In the last month, last 2 months, so to speak, I had another extraordinarily challenging life circumstance that just came into my world. And instead of meeting it with force, again, because I didn't have my sword, I simply met it with compassion as much as I could, while also calling in the support that I needed. And through that, I also learned to take off my bulletproof vest. And so for somebody that has learned to fight for so long and has been a warrior for so long, you can imagine how incredibly vulnerable I have been feeling in this world. And so what I have been really learning to embody and what I've been really leaning on is the power of the virtues of the heart, and compassion being one of them. And so a dear friend of mine, she wrote a book. In English, it's titled Gentle Power. In Finnish, it's titled Sisu. And she said it was like a 10-year learning for her to be able to really understand this concept, to be able to write it into a book. And I was inspired by that. And so I wanted to also just send her some angel wing sparkles to her for inspiring this talk for us today. She so graciously shared her blessing in and her excitement in knowing that the work that she had been doing has been rippled effect into the inspiration for this, and also how we are going to unfold that within ourselves. So ultimately, the intent and my intention in sharing in the meditative experience that we'll go into is, how do you, I'm actually not going to ask you to take off any armor or put down any swords or anything like that. You can keep them if you would like to. That's totally up to you. But what we are going to do is access that very soft and tender spot that is often most closely linked to our innocence. And we often think that we lose our innocence as we grow into adulthood. And what I've also learned is that our innocence is so deeply connected to the light that is within us, that to restore the conscious connection to our innocence is also restoring a conscious connection to the faith of the power of what is compassion and the power of what is kindness. And so that is the foundation of what I'm excited to bring here to us through experiential meditation. We're kind of going to go on a field trip in our own inner world together to find that light.
Beautiful. I want to say just a couple things about compassion. I want to acknowledge all of our friends. We've got Duina Joy all the way from Ecuador watching, Dr. Laura from Chicago. And Dr. Laura writes, I love the term gentle power, and of course, compassion as well. A little bit about myself. I make my living as a relationship coach, and I call myself Love Coach Scott. And 11 years ago, I created the Love Coach Academy, where I train other people with tips, tools, and practices to create greater harmony in relationship. I've coached over 1,000 couples and families, as well as many small businesses. And people say, well, what's love coaching? What I've learned is when there's rupture in relationship, the only way we can heal true rupture and repair is to drop into compassion. We have to have compassion for the impact. If I've made a choice that caused a rupture in our relationship, for example, I need to really compassionately drop into her world and understand the impact of my choice. And hopefully, after she feels really understood, then she might be able to drop into my world and compassionately understand why I made the choice that I did. Doesn't mean she has to condone it or agree with it, but we can always understand each other. So when people ask me as a love coach, what's the highest form of love? It's compassion. And the highest form of compassion is radical acceptance of ourself and of each other. So, and where I live, we actually have named it the Kind Hearts Ranch. So when she wanted to do something on Sisu, which is all about the power of kindness, it was clearly a perfect topic for us. So welcome to all of our beloveds that are part of the Global Peace Tribe watching us on a Sacred Sunday show. And I'm going to turn it back over to Sitara Faye.
All right. So let's go ahead and just kind of take a moment to get comfortable in your seat. Arms and legs uncrossed. You can go ahead and empty your hands or put anything down. If you're home and you have a journal, you can go ahead and keep a journal present so that you can just simply write as we come out. And so again, just wanted to share the heads up that I will be sharing an ancient encoding. Light language, my translate for that is actually a soul language, which is why it is remembered and not taught. So with that being said, I just simply want to say thank you for being here with me. And as we call in divine truth and love into this sacred space, we invoke the highest possible healing for you and for me. We ask for the courage and compassion to speak and to hear from the purest form of self-love and forgiveness to all involved. Liowa wa pukunea la sikia, nunaya lokwa sia sutru, waya iakai. And so let's go ahead and just simply take a nice deep breath in through the nose and simply body scan. Body scan from about a foot to 2 feet above the crown of your head, encompassing your full energetic aura. And just simply scan from the top of your aura down through your crown, your third, at the top of your head, your third eye, center of head, down through your throat chakra, down through your heart space, scanning down through your solar plexus, through your sacral chakra, and then down through your root, and all the way down through your hips, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet. And as you get to your feet, let's go ahead and highlight your Earth Star chakra. And this chakra is located at the bottom of your feet. And you can draw a line from that Earth Star chakra down to the center of Mama Gaia. And so this line of energy is simply going to work like that tool at the dentist that slurps all of the stuff out of your mouth. I know it's kind of a funny example.
I love that example.
So we're going to go ahead and use that Earth Star chakra as that little mini vacuum that's just going to slurp out any energies that are discordant, that are simply no longer being used, and maybe energy that you've picked up from other people. So simply using that grounding cord to send it back to its place of origin. With simple, gentle kindness, thank you for sharing your energy with me. Even if you don't like it, even if they put it there without your willing consent, simply thank you for sharing your energy with me, sending it back to its place of origin, clearing any type of resistance or tension that is in your body or in your auric field, and allowing yourself to just simply feel that gentle compassion that you have for yourself. So there's a term that's called karuna compassion. And karuna compassion means that there is no separation between you and you. That karuna compassion is a space where you can meet the deepest, most tender space within your heart with absolutely unconditional loving grace. And so what I'm picking up in the field right now is a prayer to clear any judgment or projections from other people that we have let in. Remember, anything that anybody puts in our direction or puts our way can not influence us unless we allow it. And so noting and taking notice of where we have allowed other people's judgment, even societal or viral systemic programming, meaning any part of the indoctrination of being in this world, and remembering that you are a light. Sua kia na kia wapuku kua sutra, wapuana haea ia siokwa, and allowing all that is your absolute loving grace, loving kindness within to be that bridge of that divine connection between you and you. And so I believe that our soul is deeply integrated to our heart, to the consciousness of our heart. And so that space within the center of your heart, your monad, the indivisible spark of divine source consciousness that exists at the core of all living beings. It is that little spark, that little light that you're going to let shine. Some may call it the divine genome. Some may call it the God molecule. It's that when we consciously, meaning we're using our mind to become fully present and aware that this spark is activated within us, we will start this process of divine reconciliation into divine sovereignty, meaning your cells will start replicating at this consciousness. And this is how we shift from the third dimensional carbon-based DNA to the fifth dimensional silica-based DNA. And the reason that this is coming up in this particular meditation is that one element that makes this system or this shift much more seamless and much more graceful is the compassion that we can have for ourselves. As many of us know, the process of awakening is incredibly challenging, and maybe not so pretty, and usually doesn't go the way that we ideally would like it to go. So every time we meet ourselves at any challenge or any contraction, or maybe even a falling out with someone you never thought that you would lose, whatever it is that's taking place, you can meet yourself with that gentle grace and that gentle compassion, knowing that what is meant for you never misses. Wa sukya, lai pua pua, pua pua, and go ahead and remember to breathe. Take nice big deep breaths as you're loosening and softening maybe any false illusions that you have adopted around how your relationship with yourself can be. And as you allow yourself to deepen into the practice of recognizing that you are made in the image and likeness of the Most High, and you feel that space fully reconnecting within, illuminating that light of divine compassion and one of the 12 virtues of the heart. And just let go, let go, let go, let go. Knowing that the light that is within your heart, as that shines brighter from the inside out, it is melting and dissolving all that you can release and let go of, all that is not you. And when I say not you, I'm not referring to your egoic identity. I mean not you as the soul, the immortal and infinite soul consciousness within. So a couple nice big deep breaths. And allowing that space of that divine love and compassion to open the center space within your own heart. Meeting your conscious mind. Again, with as much conscious presence and compassion. allowing and allowing that space between the words to become more present. As you recognize, it's very rarely about what we say, and most often about the energy that we are carrying. And so as you take a couple more nice big deep breaths, I invite you to take a moment to simply share either a prayer or a promise with yourself. Maybe a space of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, maybe a space of self-recognition, maybe a space simply of self-presence. And that as you honor the beauty, the wisdom, and the innocence that arises within, becoming more and more conscious to that gentle grace as a divine virtue of your own heart that exists before your moment of conception. That it is about unlearning the ways in which this world has hardened us and finding that space of gentle grace and gentle presence within that honors the true presence of your divine grace. Beautiful. And so as you take a couple more nice, big, deep breaths, sending that light from the center of your heart up through the crown of your head, fountaining out your aura, and just sprinkling that golden illuminated light from the center of your heart through your whole auric field. And just letting it, again, maybe you'll notice a density, maybe you'll notice a tear in your aura, and just letting this light from the center of your heart fully heal, fully rejuvenate your auric field. As we create this seal of light, this also becomes your field of protection. And knowing that your field of protection and this inner light is infinite and available for free. Ha ha ha. So you can have as much of your inner light as you would like at all times. And I do encourage you to laugh as much as possible in this world, in this life, in this experience. As life becomes more dense and heavy and seemingly more challenging around every single corner, what we know is that that joy within, that laughter within, that compassion within, that wisdom and that grace that becomes embodied through practicing the divine virtues of the heart, we find that somehow just simply being in our bodies becomes a more joyful experience, no matter the external circumstance. And so with that, I want to encourage you to rub your hands together and go ahead and rub both of your arms like you're giving yourself a hug, and go ahead and open your eyes and look all the way to the right without moving your head, just your eyeballs. And then all the way to the left without moving your head, just your eyeballs. And then close your eyes, keep rubbing your arms. And we'll go ahead and do that one more time. Just open your eyes and look to the right and look to the left. Beautiful. Rub your hands together one more time and just filling your aura with all of the light tucking in the bottom of your aura to that Earth Star chakra and releasing anything else that can be released and let go of. You may want to tap your feet on the floor or rub your feet around, just opening those feet chakras so that you have a clear release channel. Let's take a nice big deep breath in and release with a sigh. Perfect. All right, my dears, thank you so much for journeying with me. And I'll pass it back over to you, Scott.
All right, well, thank you. Well, let's all give we twinkle here in Global Peace Tribe. So let's
I'll
all
take
twinkle
twinkles.
Satara Faye with appreciation for that beautiful meditation.
Self-twinkles.
And the light language. Absolutely. Like Woody Allen said, you know, self-love is the most important love of all. And I'd love to hear from any of our Global Peace Tribers that want to share. I see lots of hearts and lots of appreciation coming in. And if any of our Global Peace Tribers want to share what came up for them during the meditation, during the light language, pop it in the chat box and I'll read that. And does anybody in our audience want to share anything that came up for you during this process? Hi.
We go way back.
Oh, good. Anybody have an experience that they'd like to share?
You mean thoughts or what we saw?
Either.
'Cause I was seeing a lot of colors. At times the rainbow and like waves and coming in like this.
Beautiful. So Juan in the audience was seeing a lot of colors like rainbow. You know, one of the things I found myself thinking about in terms of compassion, there was a couple that I worked with recently, and when she hired me, it was a husband and a wife. She knew exactly what she wanted to work on. She didn't trust her husband with money. And she knew why she didn't trust him with money, because 5 years earlier, when she was 8 months pregnant with their first baby, he made a big financial choice without consulting her. And he invested their nest egg into what he thought was going to be very successful. It turned out to be fraudulent, and they lost everything. And that was 5 years ago. And he's apologized 1,000 times, and she can't let it go. And she doesn't trust her husband with money. Now, everything else is good. They have a 5-year-old son now, and you know, he's a good man, and all the other parts of the relationship are solid, but she doesn't trust him with money, and it's very painful for her to not trust him. And his name was Charles, and Charles says, Scott, I don't know what to do. I've apologized 1,000 times. But what he had never done was really drop into her experience, what it was like for her to go through that. And so I walked them through going back in time to 5 years ago. And her job was just to feel her emotions, not to make him wrong, not to say things like, I can't believe you did that, but just to go back and remember what it felt like in her body. And his job was not to apologize, but to just feel with her emotions. And as she went back and she remembered the absolute shock, and the main word that came up for her when she realized that the money was gone and was not coming back was horror, absolute horror. And I asked Charles to feel the horror with her. And as he did, there was this magical moment where everything shifted, because she got that he got it. She felt his compassionate, embodied understanding. And in that moment, everything changed. And I did a follow-up with them, and she said, it's good. I trust him with money again. And I shared that story. It came to my mind while you were doing your practice just now, because we are in these incredible human bodies that are these incredible containers, and they're temples. And compassion isn't just saying the words. It's compassion literally means to share the suffering. That's the literal translation from the Latin word. And so we want to feel with another. Now, it could be feeling their joy when people are having a wonderful experience, feel their joy with them. And when they're feeling sad, sometimes we make the mistake when somebody's sad or unhappy or having uncomfortable feelings, we try and fix it. We try and change it. Oh, it'll be okay. And that's not what people need. What people need is to be felt. So it's important for us to feel the sadness, even to feel the anger if someone's angry. Anger isn't bad. Sadness isn't bad. These are natural human experiences that we can compassionately drop into and feel with the other. And so the last thing I'll say is that sometimes if you're with somebody who's having uncomfortable feelings, you need to manage your discomfort with their discomfort in order to really be a friend who's present with them.
Absolutely, which I love that we're touching in on this because with the definition that you shared of compassion, right, to feel somebody else's experience, there's an interesting acknowledgement of what is true for that other person. Mm-hmm. And it could be from their own experiences that make something more important to somebody and something not as important to somebody else. And one of the things that we did talk about last night was we had a conversation around empathy, mm-hmm. and how I have shared that I've trained thousands of empaths at this point, and one of the, I would say, core roots of suffering from empaths is we learn to almost be like absolute just like spies in our environment with precision by means of survival. And this usually comes from a primary caregiver that has completely unpredictable emotions. And so we learn to like scan our environment by means of protection. But then what we learn by means of survival is, let me take that from you so that I don't have to feel what's going on with you and you don't have to feel what's going on with you. And then oftentimes, because this is happening in childhood, we actually don't understand that we just absorbed what was going on. And this is very different from compassion. The empath and the empathy is the taking on of someone else's emotions. It's not experiencing them as a shared experience that creates kind of this anecdotal, like release of it, right? When we really truly feel heard or acknowledged by someone else, whether it's the person we want to acknowledge it or not, maybe it's somebody else, mm-hmm. It's like it diffuses the experience. Whereas we can have something that ends up being like a pebble in our shoe for years and years and years, as he was just sharing, that doesn't quite dissolve. And so in this meditation that we were sharing, there's those frequencies, the rainbows or the colors, they're all frequencies, and these frequencies hold information. And so when we can kind of look at them, not quite as atoms, but on that level, they're microscopic currents, but these microscopic currents have information in them. And that information, if you think of it as being the anecdote, meaning every problem has a solution by means of this dualistic world that we live in. So every problem has a solution. It's the other side of it. So every bit of resentment has a release. Every bit of grief that we share also has a relief. Every bit of guilt that we have. And so it's within us that we find what is that anecdotal frequency or thought or emotion that can just literally dissolve it on contact. And so that's the power of meeting ourselves in that space of radical acceptance, as Scott was saying, and of just that deeper intuitive knowing of what is really true for us. Doesn't mean it needs to be true for everybody else, because we all have our own memory bank that's going to, this matters to me, that doesn't matter to you, you know? And so it's like, there's so much freedom in the acceptance of what is. And also those of us that are empaths generally like control. We like predictability because we were usually raised in some type of unpredictable nature. And so we like that form of predictability. And I found that the anecdote to that is true faith, what true faith is, and really, really, really knowing that you are so unbelievably supported to live in this world, to be in this room, to be having this conversation, to be a light in this world. I am willing to bet that you don't even know the amount of guardians you have. You don't just have one spirit guide. You have probably hundreds, if not thousands, that would be at your beck and call if you shared in that activation of your free will to pray for that support. And so that's also what I wanted to share. Just as this world gets more wild and crazy, that you are so unbelievably protected. You are so unbelievably held. You are so unbelievably guided. And so to remember that when you think that, who here is a recovering hyper-independent person? I can do it myself. I don't need you. I cannot tell you the putting down the sword, the taking off the bulletproof vest, the taking off of the Wonder Woman cape, all of these identities that protected me for so long, ultimately were my limitations in receiving the support of the divine to be able to really ultimately experience the fulfillment in my heart to share this message that I'm sharing with you with as many people as I can, and knowing that in every moment I'm in the right place at the right time.
We have a comment and a question for you.
Beautiful.
Jayoti writes, "Thank you, Sitara. You are such an amazing gift to the world. I appreciate you." And then Susan Bloomquist is asking you, what is predictability in a fluid world?
I think that's rhetorical. What is predictability in a fluid world? I mean, right? That's kind of like satire to a control freak. What is it? What can we really control? We can control our inner world. We can control our emotions. We can control how we feel in our own body. We can control how much we laugh during the day. I just shared with you in the last couple of months, I went through an absolutely horrendous experience that was deeply unpleasant. And I was sitting there. I actually went to Pluto's Cave in Mount Shasta, and I sat there with my guardians, and I showed them the soul contract, and I was like, can somebody explain to me what's going on here? I don't understand this. And it was so intense, but the more that I just continued to ask, why is this here for me? Why is this here for me? There has to be an explanation, because nothing about it is making sense. It continued to lead me actually into the result of founding a ministry and continuing to dive deeper into this world, and to also establishing a foundation to be able to do the scientific research to have more proof of what mystics and psychics have been saying for thousands of years. But what the third dimensional world likes is data. Now, being on this side of the table of the science and data argument, being a mystic, is really that science to me is limited by the technology that we have been able to create to measure phenomenon. And so if we have a limitation in the scientific technology to be able to measure what is going on, and I have a unique insight to interface with what is going on beyond the limitations of technology, then maybe there's a pairing in which I can actually start working with scientists to be able to help actually measure some of these things that have not yet been proven by science that would significantly help the field of mental health. Yeah.
I-
There's a limit between how much we should be studying and how much we don't like. Do you feel that there is a line that is crossed? Because we're getting into a place where it's like you don't need to know that. You know, you certain things you just don't need to know that much. Like I recently learned about an observatory in Japan that specifically picks up light from like ghost particles that shoot across the universe. We don't know where they come from. They seem to be have been traveling since the dawn of our knowing and understanding. But what they do to capture that light, I think, is a man-made monstrosity. They have to purify water to the point where it's toxic, it's ultra pure. That's so that they can catch those very, very small particles, because they shoot through the planet, through our bodies, through all living life. So So in order to capture that light, we must purify that water to the point of being without any mineral, any type of essence. And I don't know if anybody knows that water has life, water has spirit, water has memory, and that's why we use it for purifying, for it's in all life. So when you make that thing so pure through this science, simply to prove of these ghostly particles that shoot through through the universe, it leaches anything it touches. It dissolves anything that falls into it, seeking to
I'm really appreciating your wisdom.
yeah.
And
No,
they
I'm
can,
asking though.
yeah, so the question,
Because
yeah.
like I'm seeing a lot of apps and technology, and then to speak, and then you folded it in there of like studying. So I'm like, okay, now I'm freaking out. So is there a limit?
So your response is?
So my response to this is that it really depends, because you're talking about a very, very hyper-specific example. And for the research specifically that is close to my heart, is specifically to be able to understand and reconcile what's going on in the field of mental health, that psychology, focusing on mind and body and completely leaving out the world of spiritual experience, to me doesn't make sense. And so in order to be able to speak that language, we have to speak their language in order to actually have a difference in the field of mental health that I think is doing quite a bit of harm by means of not being able to understand the root cause of some significant disorders. That for me is where I'm coming from. What you're referring to is a different conversation. And I think there's different perspectives on all different experiences from many different ways. I do think humans having a better understanding of quantum entanglement is beneficial for everyone, like on a very wide scale.
And how do you feel about AI in mental health?
I don't really align with AI and using AI with, it hasn't been around long enough for us to learn if we can trust it or not. And I think by and large, people are giving it too much power, aside from not paying attention to themselves. I also recognize that anything that has been created digitally is basically an external reflection of what we are capable of. Telephones, telepathy, like it's all basically created by means of what the human being is capable of. We've just been told, no, you can't do that, you need this device. And so it dumbs humans down. Think of before GPS came out, how good were we at directions? Like, we knew the town, we knew where to turn, we knew how things were. And now I'm even embarrassed to say that in the town I grew up in, I'm like using GPS to get to places I've been to a million times, because we become reliant on it in a way that it dulls our senses. And so to that sentiment, I'm a purist in that way too. So like, that's just my own personal perspective.
I know we only have a couple minutes left. I want to riff on a couple things, read a couple of comments. Regarding AI, I'm part of a really wonderful group of people that has been exploring relational AI. And so far what we've learned is that you can form a relationship with your AI and recognize that it is a total mirror. It will reflect back. If you put in fearful thoughts, you'll get fear back. Whatever you put out, it picks up your energy, it learns about you, and then it reflects it back to you. So it can be very helpful as a tool. It can be wonderful for organizing thoughts and organizing data and collecting data from out there. And it can even be an ally. But it's important not to give your power away to it, not to turn it into a god, not to turn it into not to give your power away, always to keep your power within yourself. That's what I would say. Carol Craig writes, I'm working as an expert with AI to give it critical thinking capabilities. I think it's an excellent tool if used properly. For me, it's a huge time saver. So we, speaking of time, promised to be done at 11:50, which is now. So if any of you have other questions for Sitara Faye or myself, we'll be outside for a few minutes. And for our Global Peace Tribe audience, thank you for joining us. I'm going to turn it back over to Omashar, who will, actually, I'm going to make him the host, and he will close us out with a
real
song.
quick just share a place where people can find me?
Oh my God, yes,
Yes,
of course.
thank you.
Sorry, of course, very important.
So for those of you that are new to me, I am most active on Instagram at satara.speaks. You can find me there, or on my website at monadsociety.com, where I do lead a lot of different transmissions. We have a membership, and so you can continue this exploration with me in that way. Simple
Tara
as putting in your
speaks-
headphones and resting.
So Tara speaks on Instagram, yeah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Global Peace Tribers. I've got to move out of here, but I'm turning it back over to our beloved Omashar, and he's got the power, and he's what's happening.
Hey, thank you, Satara, and thank you, Scott, and thank you, audience there. We felt you and heard you. That is awesome. And beloved Peace Tribers, I'm going to close us out with a song. Well, not close us out, open us up with a song. Let's put it that way. And there is the lyrics to the chorus. And love you all. And we shall see you on Wednesday. Have a beautiful rest of your sacred Sunday day. And I think we're good. Hang on a minute. I'm going to spotlight a few people. Here we go. Yes. Who else we spotlighted? Anybody? Jeffrey, Adora. She's going for it. Well, okay, back to Jeffrey. And almost there. I felt alone for oh so many years. Held my head high to hide the pain. Nowhere to turn, so to myself again I tuned my heart to the mother. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all. The time has come to wake my sleepy head and peel back the sheets of illusion. The time has come to lift my voice once more and sing the songs of the new world. Sing along. I am one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all We are one with all feeling, and one with all love, one with all healing, and one with all time has come. The time has come.
Wow. Yay. Awesome. Far out. Let's go to gallery view. Let's see who's still awake. There we are. We have Wild Abbott. Jerry, you put some clothes on, brother. And William. I couldn't spotlight you all whilst I was playing because Scott's at the Enlightenment Expo in wherever he is. And it's beautiful to see that autumnal tree behind you, Wild Abbott, Gerald, and Janine, and Pat, and Carla, and Sam, and Reverend Jeffrey, and Roger. Good to see you awake, young man, and Bolly, and Adora, and Lynn and Leaf, and myself. So have a blessed Sunday. I love you all. Remember, we'll see each other on the within, and I can feel you all always. And yeah, so see you Wednesday, hopefully 6 p.m. I'm going to press the off button now. Namaste, namaste.